I started with the business that I'm involved in with literally a couple $100.
Anthony Napolitano is an entrepreneur and global mentor who built high-performing organizations. This podcast isn't motivation, it's mindset, discipline, and the real strategies behind elite performance.
Welcome to another episode of the Executive Lounge podcast. Today in the studio, I have Anthony Napolitano, my very good friend, client, and high earner. He's not probably even 30 and
30 now.
30 now.
Yeah, 30 now.
So guys, this is an awesome friend. I can call you friend, and just a human being. The podcast will be really packed with marketing techniques, I think, and tips, tricks, and sales, but not like, the old sales, but the kind of new modern sales. So I think for anybody who is young, but also like if you're kind of into legacy selling, then stick around because this is gonna be really, this is gonna be an interesting conversation. So again, entrepreneur, investor, mentor, now a father.
Yeah, could add that to the resume.
And an awesome human being, Anthony. Thank you for being here.
Excited to be here
and
with you today.
visiting me on the West Coast. You know?
On the West Coast. I have an event out here in Tampa tonight, so I came to visit you before the event. I'm excited.
What's happening in Tampa?
Yeah, so we're actually launching some new sales partners tonight. So we're going to teach them how to sell our products, etc. And we'll do a couple-hour meeting with them, show them how our system works. We have sales reps in 110 plus countries, which is pretty insane. So teaching people the right way to do it. I've been doing it, of course, a very long time. So helping the new guys get onboarded and really learn our system.
It's interesting. So when you say sales reps, your role would be as a sales manager, educator.
Yeah, so basically I am like a sales leader in a sense. So I bring in sales reps and teach them how to sell our products. So yeah, we have a lot of really unique products today. Historically, legacy, what we've been doing, as you know, is financial education. And we've also added some additional lifestyle components, like we have travel, some other cool things within the ecosystem. And about a year and a half, 2 years ago now, we also bought a manufacturing company for some physical products as well. So we have a lot of different things we potentially can sell to different markets in the world.
Wow, I'm really so excited because I have so many questions here, but you started with the sales reps. So the first question will be on the business growth, because I know I have my own business and I know that once you have the product, now it's about marketing, it's about selling.
Yes.
And having really good salespeople, that's the key. Still, with AI, with whatever they tell you, with
Correct.
paid ads.
Yes.
So how do you find new clients? What's been the most effective ways for you to generate leads?
So I would say, like you're touching on, you could have a great product, but if you don't have people to sell your product and you don't have a brand behind your product, it doesn't matter, right? There's a protein that's in the store, sitting next to another protein in the store, and there's a reason one sells a lot more than the other. A lot of the times it's not the ingredient within the protein, it's the brand that protein is built, right? It's the same with any product or service that you're selling in a marketplace. So what I like to do is attract quality to help build the brand. And the more quality people with, let's say, large followings, people who have success in life, I like to attract those people to work with me because, of course, they will help elevate the brand, if that makes sense. I always say you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with, and I don't want to be the best guy. So my goal is to have a lot better people around me because that will make me look very good, if that makes sense. But the key is having quality people and having people that, have success in life in different industries become part of what you're doing.
And you started as not as a sales guy, marketing guy. Yeah. You were an athlete.
Yeah, so I was a college athlete going to school for my baseball career. That was my passion. I didn't know anything about sales, business, investing.
Here in Florida?
Yes, South Florida, yeah.
So you're Floridian?
Floridian, born and raised, yeah. So that was kind of my journey. Got involved through a sales business, I guess you could say, when I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
A buddy in college was like, "Man, I think you'd be really good at what we're doing. I know you'd be down to make some extra money." I was like, "Yeah, sure," right? Didn't think much of it at the time. Didn't know what it would lead to. But that conversation led to where I'm at today. I've been working the same business now since I was 19 years old. So I'm 30. I actually turned 31 in February. So this entire time working the same business, first few years, it was a grind, right? Getting going, learning what was going on. I realized something at a young age, that skills will always make you money. A lot of people are trying to think about money and not really developing skills. So I always say the poorest people talk about money the most. Wealthy people, they talk about ideas, concepts, how to change the world, really creating solutions to major problems. That's how you make a lot of money in this world. But poor people always talk about money. So for me, I realized I was super young. I didn't have much responsibility. Focus on getting good. And if you focus on getting good, you'll make money. So I really locked in on getting good, and the business developed. By year 5, I think year 4 or 5, we became publicly traded. So that was pretty cool. We have a lot more plans over the next 5 years with that business that we built now, but just developing the skills and being consistent with it. But I've traveled all over the world today, helping people with our system and developing the skills that I've been able to develop and impacting a lot of lives.
Incredible story.
Yeah.
And this is a unique path, because it's not like, oh, you started, you said, I've been working in this business, and it's not that, it's like anybody can open like a business, and say,
for sure.
I've had a business as well, but we're not public. I don't have all those experience that you have from totally different angle.
Yeah.
And you guys are public, and you travel everywhere.
All over the world. Yeah.
So how does it all work? Like, if you could simplify, how does it all work together?
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty complex structure.
Yeah, so it is very complex. At the end of the day, being public is just complex in itself, with rules, regulatory, accountants, lawyers.
Gary Cardone was here. He was like, like reporting every quarter.
Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot, okay? But I can tell you how we developed the business. Like I said, it started with a few quality people. It doesn't take a million people to build something great. See, a lot of people think, I'm going to need so many people to build a great team. No, it takes a few really committed people that want to do something big, people that have a long-term mindset. That's how it started. And of course, it's transformed into something much bigger. But I can tell you what we do as a whole, the bread and butter to what we've done the last decade is create financial education. And we saw that as a major need in the market. Most people are financially sick, as you know. 3 out of 4 Americans live paycheck to paycheck in one of the wealthiest countries in the world. 95% of Americans who win the lottery file bankruptcy. These are just crazy statistics. So it just shows you that no matter how much someone makes, they aren't developing these skills growing up. School's not teaching them these skills, and people are just horrific when it comes to money. So we were like, okay, financial education, that was the initial niche. And then, of course, simultaneously, we talked more so about investing. And of course, initially was more so equities. And then we got into Forex and cryptocurrencies and all this stuff. And probably within year 3, we had like a full blown out platform where it had education for all financial markets, live trading sessions, the university, like all this stuff. As you know, I'm blessed to be one of the top educators in the platform today as well. So I give my knowledge back, which I didn't do for the first probably 6-7 years. I was more so just helping build the sales aspect of the business and focusing on that.
You were learning.
Yeah, I was learning myself, and also really just, I was like, okay, I'm good at investing on my own. I've made a lot of money investing on my own. I don't have time to be an educator. That was kind of my concept. And one of my business partners was like, Anthony, we pay all these educators, and you're probably better than them all. Why aren't you doing this for us?
Totally.
And I was like, man, I don't have an employee mindset, right? So telling me I got to be on a call at this time every single week, like that's not who I am. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a thinker. That's kind of different, right? But I said, all right, I'll commit to it. And it's actually been probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever done, to see the testimonials, how I've impacted people's lives with the education I'm providing. I trade, traditional equities, stocks, and I also trade cryptocurrencies.
But not like day trade.
Not day
trading.
Like,
draw a pattern here.
Yeah,
and then...
I am not a squiggler. I'm not a technical analysis guy. I'm a fundamental investor.
What does this mean?
Yeah, so fundamentals, more so you care about, if I'm looking at a company, I'm going to look at what the business is, what the future projections of the business are, what I potentially can see happening with that company. more so looking into the business developing over time. I'm not looking at the day chart. I don't really care about any of that stuff. Maybe you could look at some basic things like support and resistance when you enter a trade that day or something. But for me, I don't even really care what the chart looks like today. I want to find companies that I think have exponential growth in the future. So I am more so trading high beta stuff. I am not...
High beta, what
high
does
beta
this mean?
meaning like very volatile. Very volatile stuff, mostly tech focused. Extremely the opposite of probably what most people's retirement accounts look
And
like. Right?
I'm the user. I've been a client first.
Yes.
That's how we met, actually.
Yes.
Which is interesting because I met you on social media. And that goes to lead generation.
Correct.
And I heard you because I was involved in one of the businesses. I heard you. I was like, oh, this guy's articulated. The knowledge that you had on some of the businesses. I was like, oh, wow, he has knowledge about the businesses.
Yeah.
I don't know how old you are at that point. I'm okay, I'm going to follow you.
Yeah.
So then I see, you're jumping on like consistency.
Yep.
And then I'm like, so, okay, what do you do?
Yep.
And then that's how I went to one of the events. I became a client.
Yep.
And I did pretty well with the information as well that I've received. And I'm receiving constantly, from you as an educator.
I think, to leverage a system like ours when it comes to financial education, and of course, to make this very clear, we don't offer financial advice. So we are not, licensed professionals. We don't touch people's money. Our platform is solely education based. So you could, of course, leverage the knowledge at your own risk. So if I say, hey, I'm buying this stock today, I'm never going to say, you need to go buy this stock. We don't give financial advice, but I'll say, hey, I'm buying this stock. This is why I'm doing it with all my analysis, and share it to a whole community of people. And people will have the ability, if they want to, at their own risk, to leverage that information. But the cool thing is you're developing skills. You're learning why the educators are doing what they're doing. You're seeing like, okay, this is where he started his thesis of this company. This is where it's got to, and this is what's made him want to make an investment in that company or in that cryptocurrency or whatever the case may be, whatever asset you're trading, right? But you learn the entire process, and simultaneously, while you're even new to the game, you can leverage someone else's knowledge. And even if you're a veteran to the game, as you know, it takes a lot of time to research a business, to go meet with the founders of a company, to travel the world, to go to events and really understand what's going on. I think that's
some of the people that I meet in business, Anthony, they don't have the level of knowledge and expertise that I know you have, because I don't know how you find all that time to research all those companies. And you're very good at that.
I'm addicted.
You're very good at that.
Yes.
And so I have, clients who, are doing, 100 million, but they're focused on their business, their niche, their lane. Their lane. Yeah. And then, I don't know how they're leveraging, but I'm asking them, how do you leverage your money? So they're like, oh, I have some gold, I have this or I have that, but they're not too excited about like, oh, I'm gonna go and invest this money. Do you think they should educate themselves as a kind of, not just like a Joe Schmo, individual?
You said something great there. See, like you hear this saying, right? This phrase everyone throws out. The average millionaire has 7 streams of income. Like you've heard that before, right?
Yeah.
It's the biggest lie in the history of the world, in a sense of, they diversify eventually. But most great entrepreneurs are truly locked into one specific thing that gets very big. And then you go from in life, high risk, high reward. That's how people start as an entrepreneur, right? You're very aggressive, okay, in what you're doing. But then you go into a state of life where you're preserving wealth. So then you're diversifying your wealth because you don't want to lose money because you already got to a level that is a very good level of life. Does that kind of make sense?
Absolutely.
So most entrepreneurs, unless you're like an extreme risk taker like an Elon or someone who's very aggressive that will do one business, become wealthy from it, and it's like, I'm taking it all again and trying it again, right? Most people aren't going to do that. Most people are going to be like, okay, I built wealth in something. Now I'm diversifying the wealth. But like you said, when they're building something, they're typically very locked in, blinders on, and they're not looking left or right. They have no distractions. They know what they know, and that's all they do.
That's right.
But of course, when it comes to investing, I never felt like investing slows down my business operation. If that
That's
makes
right.
sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So a lot of people are like, oh, I don't have time for that. It's like, Okay, I invest in real estate. I invest in the financial markets. I invest in a lot of things that aren't requiring much time. Yes, what I do does require time because I do in-depth analysis and research, etc. But for the average person to plug like into our system, you know how simple it is. Notifications to your phone on a daily basis. I give market updates. We have 40 plus educators doing that on a daily basis. Live sessions. I do 2 sessions a week, 30 minutes long. Like, think about that. The max amount of time to really be educated, an hour a week. That's crazy, right? But I can just tell you, like, I think everyone should be investing. As you know, the money sitting in the bank is just losing money. So you have to have your money working for you.
Unpack that. The money sitting in the bank is just losing money because it's, for me, it's sitting there and it seems like it's not losing.
Correct. So understanding that your money's depreciating on average about 3 to 5% a year. And people might even argue more than that. But historically, let's say 3 to 5% a year over the last 50 years, okay? If you're not getting at least 3 to 5% on your savings account, right? Maybe in certain times, like right now, a money market account could pay a little more, right? When interest rates are higher. But as interest rates go down, what are you going to get?
What do you think about the sailors, those STRC and
those are very unique products. And you know, the last few months, right? If we go in time, right where we're at now, a few months prior to now, those products were kind of bleeding out, not getting a lot of volume. Right. But what he did was very smart. He said, okay, instead of buying Bitcoin with some dilution, let's go buy some cash so I can guarantee paying the yields. So now people see that, and those products have picked up for the last 2 weeks, and that's why he was able to go buy, you know, a big buy of like 1.25 billion last week, because those products are picking up again, because people say, oh, they have the money for the next 2 to 3 years to pay us already on that. So even if we go into a bear market or something, we're still going to get our yield on that product. So yeah, it was very smart that MicroStrategy now, that's the name of the company now, but still the ticker.
Rebranding, going back to what we were discussing.
It's a strategy, right? The ticker is still MSTR, but at the end of the day, it was smart that they've actually put cash, you know, billions of dollars of cash on the balance sheet on top of the Bitcoin on the balance sheet to show people those products can pay those yields. Yeah, very smart. Very, very smart. But like I was saying, at the end of the day, right now, you have a lot of money still in money market accounts, okay? And as interest rates do go down, people will start deploying that capital into other things to get yield. When they can get 4%, 5% on their money, they're happy to sit in cash, even though, like I told you, it's around 3 to 5% a year inflation. So the money's really not growing. It's kind of keeping up with the times, if that makes sense. But now when you're getting 1% or 2%, you're losing significantly. So then they're like, okay, now I got to take that money and put it onto, you know, assets that could appreciate more efficiently. And that's what I think will actually happen. I think 2026 will be a massive year in the financial markets. Inflation's been the biggest fear for the Fed over the last few years, right? And of course, we were in QT for 22, 23, 24, basically ended December 1st of 25, QT, quantitative tightening.
And in simple terms?
In simple terms, the Fed is raising interest rates to suck liquidity out of the system to reduce inflation. That's pretty much what QT is, but the Fed really balances two things. They balance inflation and they balance the job market. So that's kind of like their job, right? If inflation's under control, and the job market looks rough, their goal would be to reduce interest rates to help the job market. If inflation's running crazy wild, of course, they're going to be more concerned about that. We've seen the last couple prints. We actually saw another one this morning. Inflation actually does not look like a major concern right now. It doesn't. It was for a while, but it's kind of flattening out, right? Inflation doesn't look too crazy. I think the bigger concern right now for the Fed would be the job market. Also, of course, we're going to get a new head of the Fed in May. So the reality is that person is probably going to be a lot more dovish than Powell, just because this will be someone...
Dovish meaning?
You know, meaning in the sense of good for the markets, right? Someone who is, you know, someone you want in place, who will bring interest rates down, that will pump liquidity into the economy. So hawkish would be bad. That would be someone who would be like, oh, let's raise rates. Let's try to keep sucking liquidity out, whatever the case may be. But this will be someone who is handpicked by the president. So the president has his agenda, and of course the person he puts in there is going to be hand selected by him to fulfill that agenda. That's kind of the name of the game.
And then you analyze all of that data, and you use that as a factor
so this is a high level factor of the overall macro, right? Of like where the economy is, where the money cycle is, all of that kind of stuff. And then from there, it's identifying the right companies that can outperform.
And how do you do that? So some of the businesses that you told me,
Yes.
I don't know if I can tell them, but let's give them some value here. So it was Bitcoin miners.
So Bitcoin miners, I was very ahead of the curve on that, as you know. I started buying some of these companies pretty heavily in 2022. And, I was able to identify some companies that I thought had great power assets. That was kind of the thesis to the investment. Of course, a lot of them at the time were Bitcoin mining. They had a lot of other assets not developed yet, but I realized, okay, where the world is going, everything needs power. The biggest and most successful economies in the world use the most power. So if you guys want to look at GDP to power, like it's directly correlated. Okay, the countries that consume the most power are the wealthiest countries on the planet. So the reality was, okay, that this Bitcoin mining is a thing right now. That has, certain times where it's way more lucrative than other times. It's a volatile business, but I said power assets, that's the key. And of course, over the last 2 years, we've seen this AI boom, right? And the biggest...
How did you think of that? I spoke to some really smart people that I know.
Yeah.
Nobody really thought about that. I shared with my friends.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, this guy Anthony, he's talking about the Bitcoin miners, and then everybody thought it was just Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Then little did they know, then you're talking about AI. It's like 6 months before all that happens.
Yeah.
And you kind of like sow, seeds already.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm getting in there, I'm kind of scooping a little bit. And then that event happens, and all of those big companies are just, 10x's.
Yeah,
20x's.
It's been crazy. I shared with the members a lot of great entries. I was buying TeraWolf in the 70 cents range.
What is it at right now?
$14+. High of about 17.
So what do? You buy and then you just go, you build your businesses, you show up podcasts?
So basically with the members, right, they get access to the information. So I let them know when I'm buying or selling a company. So I started accumulating TeraWolf significantly in the 70 cent range. I believe that was in 22, 23, something like that. From what I think it's 23. When I started doing that, when they officially bottomed, and I was like, oh, they got some unique power assets. This company is only worth $150 to $200 million company at that point. I'm like, the risk to reward could be very lucrative here, right? Understanding who was in charge of the company, what their future plans were for the business, and of course now looking at that company, I think we're 560 megawatts of contracts signed now for AI compute.
What kind of clients do they?
Yeah, their clients, FluidStack, Google, G42, Anthropic.
And what's in the pipeline?
Pipeline.
Potentially.
They probably have another gigawatt of power ready to go in the next 2 years. And you could think about what that company is going to be worth in 2 years from now. A lot of those companies, they went different approaches. TeraWolf, Cypher's another one I got in very early. Iron's another one
I got both of them.
Yeah, so I shared all this stuff with the community. I think the average cost basis for Iron is $4.25 a share for the community. Cypher was a little higher. I think that was about $6. Hut, $12. We could go down the list. I have 11 of the 12 trades that I have out are in profit. 11 of 12. One is maybe 30% down from its original entry. The rest of them are all in profit. Some of them are up hundreds, if not, some of them are up thousands of percent from the original entry. And of course, no guarantees when it comes to performance. Nothing like that. I don't give financial advice. And of course, past performance is never indicative of future results. But these are the things I share with the community. As you know, do I give a new stock every day? No, not at all. Also, when I find winners, I ride winners.
Yeah, you've been a champ.
Correct. Been a champ. A lot of people, they have a winner, and they always are hunting for the next winner. When the winner is right in front of them, just keep adding to that position on a
That's
dip.
Powerful.
Like a lot of people are looking for the next shiny object. No, you already got the one.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, you got the one in front of you. Just if there's a dip, that's when the opportunity is. If something retraces 35, 40%, which you can get in these type of stocks because they're very volatile stocks, very high beta stocks, right? You can get that. That's when you add. So for me, finding companies, doing my homework. I don't just invest in anything. And I have a long-term mindset when I make an investment. I'm not making an investment for today. I'm making an investment for what the company's going to be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. And people think long-term, like 2 years goes by, like, as you know, like it's overnight, 2 years goes by. So that's kind of my thesis behind my investments. But yeah, some of these companies that I've shared years ago before, people even thought of these companies, like I already named TeraWolf's, their partners. Of course, Iron's done a deal with Microsoft. Cypher's done a deal. FluidStack, Google, and Amazon. Like, talking about the biggest companies in the world. And these companies, in my opinion, like those are the big three. We could go down the list. And of course, I've got a bunch in the portfolio in a lot of different sectors and stuff like that. But the reality is like those big three, they have a lot of power to bring onto the market over the next 12 to 24 months. And like I was saying, the biggest bottleneck right now in the world when it comes to AI is power. You can have all the machines. If you can't plug them in, what are they going to do? So, have all the GPUs. And trust me, there's plenty of GPUs out there. If you want to order GPUs, you could get GPUs. But power is the golden goose.
So what's going on with power? What do you think is
the grid is not prepared for the type of power that you need to run these types of language models. So we have a shortage, and if you can deliver power to customers, they're going to pay big money for that power.
So funny because Gary Cardone was sitting in this chair a couple of days ago, and he said he was taking
he's in some of those
economic classes, and he said that the teacher said when demands exceed supply. Prices go up and vice versa.
Same thing with everything.
That's the only principle that I look at. Then you talk about supply demand here. So that goes to AI. Let's talk about the demand, because I see a lot of hype in AI as well. I'm in this field. I know how useful it is. In fact, I used it even to prepare questions. How crazy is that?
It's crazy.
I didn't even think about it.
It could do certain things, like you said, very well. Very well. Other things, like you said, me and you've talked about this previously, like certain things it can do great. We're not at the point where it could replace real quality talent. It's not at that level yet. Like eventually, maybe, I don't know, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. But right now, it can do a lot of basic tasks for you and save you a lot of time. But I don't think it's the end all yet. But everyone wants to get to the end all. That's why the race is on. That's why the Mag 7 all wants to win this race, because they believe if they win this race, they win the game. That's their philosophy.
Interesting. So now, you remember when it was the .com crash? You had companies that would create a business like .com, go public, raise a lot of money. We don't see this happening now.
That's why
it's all
So when people say AI bubble, right? I think we're probably third or fourth inning in this game. I don't think we're anywhere close to the end of this game. Most of the money driving this game is coming from the Mag 7. And some of these companies make tens of billions of dollars a year in profit as businesses, right? This is not like them taking on crazy debt to go do this thing. They actually have cash flows as companies. And of course, they're making strategic investments to try to, grow those cash flows over time, right? That's what they're actually doing here. You hear a couple names like the Oracles of the world or the CoreWeaves of the world, companies that have taken on some debt to try to, be in this game. But at the end of the day, those companies could even disappear and it's not going to change this game. Like the biggest companies in the world are trying to win this. There's plenty of money coming in on a monthly basis. They have really successful companies, really successful businesses already existing.
In the legacy.
In legacy, right? Now they're trying to get into other sectors or expand the existing sectors through this model. They have plenty of cash flows to do this. So like the internet bubble, right? Let's go. Okay, you're talking some of the top companies in the world right now are trading at like a 30x multiple. NVIDIA's at a 30x multiple, let's just say, okay? You had companies like Cisco in, the internet bubble trading at a 168x multiple. Okay, that's not, like where we're at right now is not bubble territory, but a lot of people, they have the traumas from previous experiences. So think about this. If you've been investing a long time, you've went through certain things and you are fearful that that's going to happen again. And it might get to that point eventually again. But we're nowhere near that at this point. Look at the counterparties. The counterparties for a lot of this stuff going on, like the companies I've invested in, I'm not more so focused on the chip manufacturers. Of course, if you rode that trade for the last few years, congratulations to you. But I'm more focused on power right now. Power data center companies in that specific niche. And there's a lot of niches that will also benefit from AI specifically. But I can just say I'm more focused on that. And I'm also focused on who are their counterparties. I'm not worried about Google paying their bills. I'm not worried about Amazon paying their bills. I'm not worried about Microsoft paying their bills. You see what I'm saying? If you have a company that you're investing in that the counterparty is someone who is taking on massive debt to pay, okay, there might be a concern there for sure. But the things I'm investing in, I know who the counterparties are. The counterparty risk is not a risk to me because I understand what's going on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
On the lead generation, because it's all, guys, when you're listening to this, we're talking about lead generation, investing, mindset, all of that is just here conversationally for you. So I don't need to break it down. But if we were to kind of add a little bit more structure here, on the lead generation, Anthony has his own social media. He's very active. He's going around talking to people, doing podcasts. As you heard, he's in Tampa, traveling all the time. He has a kid, a wife. So he's a pretty busy guy.
Yeah, I'm a busy guy.
Yet he still does lives.
Yeah.
For free. You mentioned there's a membership. If you guys want to become a member, I'm a member. I don't know what are the tiers, but I'm the elite.
Yeah, the top tier.
The top tier.
Yeah.
Because the information that I'm getting there, I trust this guy. I've seen him. He's very consistent. He's a great human being. And so you do host your crypto talk. Crypto talk. I heard you're opening another.
So for the members for the last 3-4 years. Of course, like I said, initially I wasn't an educator. I had no interest in being an educator.
Yeah.
I was investing on my own and doing very, very well on my own. But as a platform, a couple of my business partners were like, hey, one specifically was like, you need to help the people.
Totally.
Like,
you have a gift.
Yeah, you have a gift. Like, that's what he was saying. And I was like, dude, no, like, I just do it on my own. I don't have time for that. Because like I said, I don't want to show up, weekly every time at this hour to do this. Like, the employee thing was not for me. But he said do it, fell in love with it, and we created a product called Crypto Talk. And we basically talk about anything cryptocurrency, from cryptocurrencies directly to companies in the equities market with some sort of crypto exposure, anything that could be tied to crypto, right? And of course, that product's had massive success. So this year, in the next couple of weeks, actually, we're going to be launching Stock Talk. So we had Crypto Talk, we're also going to have Stock Talk, and not saying we didn't provide stock
Will
education.
I have access to that?
You will have access to that. No additional charge included in your top membership, right? But basically, we've had a lot of educators provide stock education or equities education, let's just say, which are great. But of course, me specifically, my product was just Crypto Talk, now Stock Talk. So I'll also trade other equities, let's just say, or other stocks specifically, not just crypto or maybe like AI related. I'll trade a lot of other things as well, which will be pretty cool for the members.
Now, you mentioned crypto talk.
Yeah.
That's been really successful, but crypto has been
successful.
pretty rough.
Yes.
As a broader sort
Correct.
of asset class.
Cryptocurrencies, like you're saying, it's been in a bear market since 2021.
I looked at the chart today.
Yeah.
They showed crypto market cap, which is like 3 trillion.
Yeah, a little 3 and some change.
When we talk about crypto, it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, and everything else.
Yeah, the whole market. Yeah.
And they compared it to the Mag 7.
Yeah.
That one company is from like Mag 7. So like one of the 4 biggest stocks, it's one of them is bigger than the whole crypto market cap.
No, the crypto market's
What is your view on that?
So the crypto market's been in a bear market. If we look back now, you couldn't have probably saw this playing out the way that it's played out. But basically, crypto has been in a bear market since, let's just say, the end of 21, the beginning of 22. So we topped out November of 21. We officially bottomed for Bitcoin November of 22, okay? And that was around the $15,000 range, right? We go to 70, come back to about 15, and then we've worked our way up to 126 as the high, right? But that whole entire move from 15 to 126 on Bitcoin was institutional driven. These ETFs, treasury companies like Strategy, like you mentioned earlier, it has all been that. It hasn't been retail getting back into this game. It hasn't been just regular people. It's been institutional demand on one specific asset in Bitcoin. The rest of the crypto market has literally still been bleeding since 21. You would have thought, right? Okay, Bitcoin bottoms out November of 22, okay, at 15,000. And now Bitcoin's currently trading at about 94. I just looked at it a few minutes ago, 93 and some change, right? You would think, okay, altcoins probably did pretty well from, Bitcoin at 15 to, let's say hanging out currently at 94. Actually, a lot of these altcoins are lower today than they were when Bitcoin was at 15,000.
Do they have, because you're a fundamental investor, do they still have value or?
Some will have value, but they are considered risk-on assets, extremely risk-on assets. And we've been in QT, basically 22, 23, 24, and we just ended December 25. So liquidity has not found its way into extreme risk yet. We're starting to see it in the equities market with the, let's say the Russell 2000. We're starting to see like some money come into that. But until the money printer goes on to another level, which I believe is going to happen this year, I believe rates are going to go lower and you will get some movement in these altcoins. But it has literally been a Bitcoin only bull market. And people will say, well, I made some money on this altcoin. It's really just been crypto native people moving from coin to coin. So there are some things that happened in 23, 24. Some altcoins had some runs, right? Short-term things. These are more like trades, right? Real quick trades, few weeks, few months, whatever. Where, yeah, some money has been made on some different assets, but it's basically just a rotation of liquidity. It's the same people buying this asset, then going to that asset, the same money. To have a real full bull market, like a blown out bull market, you need new money to come in. And we haven't had that. I think this year you will actually have that. I think some of the top 20 will do very well, maybe even some of the top 100, and you might have some crazy risk and some things do what they do. But I think there is some good fundamental projects in crypto. The market's just not developed enough to sustain stuff in a bear market.
What do you think happened October 10th when everything kind of just dumped?
Yeah, a lot of leverage, which is always very normal in the crypto market. And then a lot of these exchanges with the ways they've created their products of how liquidity is tied. Liquidity in crypto is very correlated to Bitcoin. And then a lot of these products were even correlated to, other assets within your portfolio. So historically, if we look at the crypto market, if Bitcoin's doing bad, altcoins are not going to do good because a lot of the liquidity is tied to it through the pairs, right? And that's how it was initially, because initially we didn't have USD on-ramps, okay? Then we have these USD on-ramps today, right? But the market has not decoupled from Bitcoin. What does that mean? Like in the equities market, you could have one stock do good when another stock does bad for the year. If Bitcoin does bad, what are the chances of your altcoin doing well this year? Very, very low, because the liquidity is so correlated to Bitcoin. Eventually, I think that changes, but we're not there yet. It's too small of a market at this point. But a lot of these instruments as well have liquidity from all these cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin, all correlated with other coins. So the liquidity moves up and down simultaneously. That's why typically if Bitcoin has a great day, most altcoins are up. Not saying it's going to outperform it, right? But most altcoins will go up and things go down. If you look at the board on a daily basis, you'll see, oh, Bitcoin's up 4% today. Everything else is up a little bit today. Bitcoin's down 4%. Everything's down today. You don't get assets moving on their own. I think that's actually going to change with the Clarity Act as well.
What is that?
So the Clarity Act, supposedly, the Senate Banking Committee is going to be voting on that on Thursday. And it's a market structure bill. A lot of the things, a lot of the manipulation you see in the crypto market will get flushed out. Things like wash trading and all these things that are illegal in other markets, like, security markets, whatever the case may be, like the equities market, and a lot of other things that a lot of these market makers are doing will become illegal, and it will trade more like a lot of more, let's say, established markets. Yeah. So that will be big. That will actually be huge for the crypto market long term. For the asset class long term, it's a very big deal.
So one last question on the digital assets
Yeah.
since we're here. You mentioned about Bitcoin and institutional investors like strategy.
Yeah.
I looked. I think this week they bought over 13,000 Bitcoins.
Yep.
They're almost at like
700,000.
700,000.
Yeah.
When they buy all those Bitcoins, why isn't the price moving?
They buy OTC. They don't buy on the market. A lot of the times they find sellers, and the OTC players connect dots. So it's not an on the market order. They're not hitting the order book. It's off the market, the sales.
But I would think like logically,
Eventually, you can't do that no more, right? So Bitcoin's an asset with a finite number. Okay,
That's right.
You have about 20 million in the world today. You're gonna eventually have 21 million, right? Bitcoin comes into the world every single day through the process of mining, right? And of course, every 4 years, the supply gets cut in half. It's a very simple concept. As we go on, there will be less sellers, you would believe, over time, right? Because more people are going to believe in the asset, more people want to hold the asset long term. I don't believe you should ever sell your Bitcoin. This is my philosophy.
you never sell.
I would never sell Bitcoin. I would sell other altcoins and stuff. And of course, you can make a trade. Not saying someone can't trade an asset, do what they want to do, but like your long-term holdings,
Yeah.
I don't believe you sell your Bitcoin. If you want to, eventually, if you need capital, you could take a loan against your Bitcoin. And there's going to be many, many more instruments that get better with better fees on loans against your, collateral. Of course, there are many methodologies today. Even companies like Coinbase offer products today where you could take a loan against Bitcoin, right? At the end of the day, I think you take loans against it, and that's also what wealthy people do, as you know. There's many different strategies you could have, but the reality is I don't believe they're going to be able to do what they're doing strategy, or even other big buyers, forever. Because once the market does dry up and there's not sellers to facilitate OTC markets, which there's always going to be sellers. The market's always going to have sellers. But I'm saying it's going to push the price more when there's less people willing, to sell their coins. So that's how price goes up. I feel like price probably has bottomed out recently. I think 80,000, pretty good number to bottom out at. A lot of people think we're going to get these 80% retracements like we've historically had. There's a lot stronger hands in this market. This is a completely different market than it was in 2020 and 2021. Completely different game, completely different holders. Also, what's been great over the last year, a lot of long-term holders have sold their tokens, which has diversified the hands. You want to have a lot more people holding the coins instead of all the coins being held by, solo entities. Unless the solo entity is like a strategy where their philosophy is they're never going to sell. You're cool with that one, right? Of course, if something ever happened to their company, it's not good for the market, right? Because it's so much Bitcoin with one person or one entity. But at the end of the day, a lot of the long-term crypto people are actually diversifying. So you remember what I told you previously. You get to a point of wealth where you want to preserve your
Is there
wealth.
any specific absolute number, or is it very individual?
I think it's per individual. It's what you want in life. I think everything is like that. When it comes to building a business, right? When I'm working with a sales guy, some sales guys have more talent than the other person, but they're like, oh, this is what I want, right? So everyone has their own specific goal. But like I was saying, a lot of these crypto native people, 100% of their wealth was correlated to Bitcoin. Meaning, if Bitcoin is down, their net worth is dramatically down. Bitcoin's up, their net worth is dramatically up. A lot of those OG whales have actually sold a lot of their Bitcoin over the last couple of years, around $100,000, okay? Which is great for the market because now that Bitcoin is getting dispersed into other people's hands. And if you look at a lot of these traditional finance products, like ETFs specifically for the Bitcoin, play, most people that are getting into a Bitcoin ETF are not allocating 95% of their wealth into it. They're allocating 3 to 5%.
That's right.
Okay? So what does that mean? Well, if Bitcoin's down, do they give a crap? They're not going to care. They're not going to be emotional to it, right? It's a part of the portfolio. Have a long-term thesis on it. I'm buying this asset because I believe over the next decade it's going to appreciate significantly compared to maybe holding fiat or some other asset, right? That's the philosophy. So guess what? Those are strong hands. Strong hands. And yes, you're going to have people trading these assets. That's very normal. But these hands are a lot stronger than the crypto native people in a sense of congratulations to some people who have held an asset 10 years and have made tons of money, right? Those were high risk takers too, because they were very consolidated into one thing. All their wealth was in Bitcoin, right? Whatever the case may be, congratulations to those people, and they have the exit now. But long term for the market, it diversifies the hands. It makes the hands much stronger, and you're getting rid of, these solo entities or these solo people holding so much of the asset.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. Now let's transition into adding more, because we're talking about investing, and even Gary, when Gary Cardone was here, he said, "Oh, my goal is to have 1,500 Bitcoin," and he said, "It seems to everyone that I have so much money that I can just constantly just add, call the bank, hey, 100 million, just drop it, and add." He's like, "I need to go and produce more.
Yeah.
I need to generate more cash." Even him.
Correct. No, and it's the same thing. This is one of the biggest problems with people investing. You actually just hit it in the head. So I'm going to make this point to you. So many people, like, for example, people that, get our service and they get education. Okay. And let's say I'm buying this stock today. And of course, I don't know what they do, but let's say they go buy that stock. Of course, we don't tell people what to do with their money. We don't give financial advice. But let's say that person wants to leverage what I'm doing. They now sit there the next 3 months and just log into that Robinhood or that Schwab or that E-Trade every single day, and they just watch the number.
Emotional.
Yeah, just watching the number. Oh, I'm up a little today. It's like, buddy, you got $1,000 in the account, okay? Or you got $100,000 in the account, or you got $1 million in the account. Great, whatever the situation is. You looking at it is not going to make it go up or down.
That's right.
Okay? So the reality is the greatest investors in the world generate cash flow. They're always making money to put more money into the game. Does that make sense? It's very important. And that's the cheat code. Because guess what? Let's say this building we're in right now.
What do you say that's
the cheat code?
The G code.
Cheat code.
Cheat code.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, think about this. Let's say this building that we're in right now, okay? Someone brings it to me and they say, for today only, you could buy this building for $5 million. Okay? I'd expect this building's worth a lot more than $5 million. Let's say it's worth $50 million or $100 million. But they say today, but I need the cash by noon today. Well, I'm going to have the cash to do the deal. Is someone else going to have the cash to do the deal? Does that make sense? So a lot of the time, you could have great opportunities. But if you don't have the cash flow to act on the opportunity, it's just an opportunity. So I think every great investor, every great entrepreneur should always be focused on cash flow, because the more cash you consistently have coming in, the bigger you can play this game.
So let's talk about let's talk about generating more, because we're talking about lead generation, growing your business. So we talked about the investing part, because I wanted them to know, like, you guys could listen to him for hours. Like, I'm on sometimes I'm on X Spaces listening to like the analysis, because you're very articulated and you can get into like rooms of some really heavy hitters and
cool people.
And drop some knowledge, So I just wanted you to share and introduce you to our, whoever is watching, and hopefully you guys can learn, because I made like 4 pages of notes already. And so, but let's talk about generating more. I'm in my business. Most of the day it's spent on my business, in the business. I'm generating more. But then, there is more. Yes. Yeah. I have more, I generated more, and then the investing part, the compounding. Yeah. But you mentioned that you have how many hundreds, the sales guys that you train?
We have sales guys in 110 countries.
You have sales guys in 110 countries. And you train them, and then you guys go, and that's part of the...
We onboard customers. Yep.
And that's how you generate
revenue. Yeah. Revenue. So we basically have, with our model specifically, we sell a membership to get access to our education. We, of course, give a bunch of other perks as well. I was actually showing him a few minutes ago before we started our new travel product.
That was a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, pretty cool product where basically you have an app on your phone, part of our membership, with some of the things we have launching. Can't give you guys the full thing yet. You'll see it in a few weeks, right? But basically, part of our membership now includes, you get this travel voucher, so you get a free vacation each year. You also get this
Yeah, I'm
travel.
going to Vegas for a conference. I could
Correct. You use the
service.
voucher. Basically your hotel 4 to 7 nights would be covered. All you pay is the taxes and the resort fees. Pretty cool. It's just like an additional perk by being a part of our ecosystem, kind of like Costco or any type of membership program. They give you like incentives and perks, and they introduce partnerships and a lot of different things. We have a lot of things on top of our financial education today. I was showing you like the travel portal where you can look up any hotel. Go compare the price to Expedia hotels.
Oh yeah, it was like $200, $150.
You saw the savings. Insane.
Yeah.
Insane savings, right? And of course, can't guarantee every hotel's going to have a savings, all the disclaimers and everything like that. But this is free value. We didn't charge $1. It's just included in the membership. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, we wanted to bring value to the membership, but our goal is to sell memberships, create recurring billing. Look at Apple today. Apple's a great example of this. Apple was a company who sold a one-time product. What does that mean? Well, I sell you a piece of hardware, a computer, an iPod, an iPhone. Like, this is a one-time sale, okay?
Yes.
But what has Apple done with their business now? They have created a ton of membership models, if you haven't realized. About 35 to 40% of Apple's revenue today comes through subscription-based services. So, Apple Music, you might have heard of it. Apple TV, you might have heard of it. iCloud, you might have heard of it. Let's go through the list. There's a ton of things. Arcade, Apple has created a ton of things that you're going to pay for on a recurring billing basis. Recurring billing, residual income. What do the biggest companies in the world do? What does your cell phone provider do? You pay them every month, right? What does your electric company do? You pay them every month. What does your water company do? You pay them every month. Recurring billing. What does Netflix do? You pay them every month. What does Amazon do? Let's keep going through the company.
Yeah, I pay them every month. All those companies, I pay them every month.
It doesn't matter how wealthy you become. There's no one-time payment. You have to pay them every single month. So these companies like recurring billing because recurring billing leads to residual income. Okay? Residual income is the golden goose. All of us have residual bills, but if you're able to figure out a way to generate residual income that could offset your residual bills, then you start having freedom in your life. Then you have additional cash flow that you can invest to do things to better your future. That's the golden goose of life. So for me, what did I want to do at a young age? I said, how do I create a business model where I can produce residual cash flow on a weekly basis? Because I realized once my residual cash flow got above my residual bills, I will have excess capital each and every week to make investments. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the cheat code. What
is better for you? Monthly subscription or a yearly subscription? So ARR, annual recurring revenue?
We do both, as you know, and we actually give a really nice discount, and we sometimes run really crazy promotions.
Oh yeah, I buy those.
You buy those from
because like I pay every month.
Yeah, so why not save?
Yeah.
So we offer a model at all times where if people pay us a year in advance, they get 2 months free.
Because I prefer annual in our business.
Correct. Yeah, because we're getting the money.
I don't want to deal with monthly, and like their card doesn't work, this doesn't work, and I want the payment. Like I want the money up front. Like
correct.
Every business needs capital.
Every business wants the money in the door as fast as possible. That's the reality. So we do offer the same way Amazon does, or the same way Netflix does. There are a lot of these companies offer, hey, if you pay a year in advance, tons of them. Tons of these companies, even like Telegram and all these different apps, they offer yearly memberships that will save you a significant amount of money. Apple has not done that with iCloud yet, which is pretty smart on their behalf because they don't want to give you a discount. So that was kind of their philosophy. But like Apple TV, you can buy it annually, save some money. We have so many subscription, let's just say entertainment companies today. Like how many movie, television show, like platforms, it's been insane. Like Netflix was the only one, let's say a decade ago. I don't even know how long Netflix has been around. It feels like it's been around a long time now. But now think about how many competitors Netflix has. There's a ton of these streaming platforms.
YouTube.
There's a ton of them, right? But what does it all come down to? Consistent residual income, recurring billing. That's the name of the game. Most Americans, and most people in the world really, they will pay for things with all the money they have every month. They are literally just residual payers.
So how are they supposed to invest?
How are they supposed to invest? They have to figure out how to generate income and not basically just be someone who's throwing out money. They have to generate capital for themselves. So you have to understand the model.
So let's talk about those guys. And one of the skills you said you have to learn how to be better.
Yeah.
So you're awesome at presenting and communication.
Yeah, communication and presenting. And communication and presenting, how you get good at that is by giving real life examples. Okay, let me
That's
explain
so
that
powerful.
to you. So a lot of people present their information, right? And the information could be incredible, but they can't make it make sense in someone's brain. So when I present information, I'll give you real life examples of things that people are going through, things that they see every single day to make it make 10 times more sense. Does that make a lot of sense?
Totally.
Okay. So using real world examples, doing things that they already relate to is super important. You got to know your audience, right? If I go to a different country or a different city, I got to know who I'm talking to. Hey, this is what they do in this country. I talk to the top. Hey, what do you guys like to do? What are some of your, your hobbies? What do most of the people in this country do? What do they do in this city? I figure out like what's going on, and I make things make sense. I paint pictures for people, so then it's like, oh, it's resonating within their brain instead of just like, oh, this guy's sharing great information, but how could this relate to me? And of course, the goal, selling any product or service, right? You have to be the solution to a problem. That's the name of the game. The bigger the problem, the bigger the solution, the more money you make. You fix simple problems, okay, you make a little money. You solve major problems, you make a lot of money. That's the name of the game.
Totally.
Yeah.
So any business owner that is listening to us right now,
Yeah.
and including myself,
Yeah.
I would love to learn, how do you train your sales guys?
So I teach them about our products initially, right? I teach them the fundamentals of the product, how to sell the product in a legal compliant way, show them, how to use the products as efficiently as possible. So I want to give them education on the ecosystem, but then from there, I want to teach them sales tactics and how to control conversations, how to lead conversations, how to get a customer from here to where you want them to be when it comes to purchasing an object. So I'm very good at that. I think that's always about what you say. Okay, like I like to lead a conversation. So I don't ask questions. So a lot of people would be like, oh, let's say I'm presenting my product to you right now. A lot of people would be like, oh, what did you like best about it? Or what do you think? Or like these open-ended questions, which can go really good or really bad. You can be like, I love it. Oh, that's great for me. Oh, it's stupid. It doesn't make sense. Or, yeah, I don't think it's for me, right? You can go different directions, okay? What I like to do is lead a conversation, meaning you see the information right now. It's very simple what I say to you. I'm going to say, let's get you started. And you're going to be like, okay, get me started. Or you're going to be like, some sort of rejection. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I need more information. Giving you some basic rejections, right? But the reality is I know exactly where I'm going with you when I ask, or basically make this statement instead of ask a question. So I said, let's get you started. Now I know where you're going. I don't have the money. Okay, hey, no problem. When's the next time you get paid from your job? You're going to say, oh, I get paid Friday. Okay, what time Friday is best that we could set you up with our services and start, impacting your life in a positive way? I teach something called Fam Bam.
What is
sales.
that? Fam Bam.
From a meeting, book a meeting.
Okay, unpack that.
Okay, from a meeting, book a meeting. Meaning you never leave a meeting without having the next meeting already booked.
I like that.
So if me and you were talking about, something today that I'm selling you, okay, and you say, I'd love to do it, I just don't have the money. Or I'd love to do it, I just don't have the time. I'm gonna have the next appointment already scheduled before we end this appointment to follow up with you properly. Because a lot of people, they don't follow up.
Totally.
And we always say in sales, the fortune's in the follow-up.
You're pretty good at that.
Yeah. And a lot of people say, oh no, if you're so good at sales, you're gonna close on the first sale. Bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you have tens of thousands of sales reps working for you, because not everyone is gonna be the Michael Jordan. That's not the reality. Yeah. I need a lot of people doing a little. A lot of people doing a little is gonna produce us a lot of capital. Does that make sense? I don't need 3 guys doing all the sales. No, we have thousands of sales reps. A lot of people doing a little is going to bring in a lot more money than a few people doing a lot. So I'm going to teach the sales reps basic principles and strategies that everyone can succeed with. If you're the best, great. If you're average, great. Doesn't matter. Everyone can do what we do. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So like I said, leading the conversation and always having, answers to the rebuttals. I teach the guys. This is like one of the things I focus on. So if it's a money thing, okay, let's find the money. When's the next time you get paid from your job? When's the, next time you're, having income come into your life? Like, we're figuring out a way to get that person started. If they don't have time, I will highlight products within the ecosystem that are very, minimal time, that they don't need much time to use these things, that they could see a benefit in their life. If they say I need more information, well, if they came to a live presentation, they watched a pre-recorded video, they got on a Zoom call, whatever the case may be, get them another form of information. But I always tell people, once you expose someone 3 times to the information, okay, you have to cut them off. A lot of people...
What does this mean?
Okay, a lot of people in sales, they have people lead them on that are just afraid to tell them no. So what does that mean? Meaning, like, let's say we have a relationship, and you like me, but you're really not interested in what I have going on, but you just feel hard to say no to me.
Yeah.
Okay? You keep saying, give me more information, give me more information. Eventually I'm gonna say, hey, at this point, you know more about the thing that I created. Okay? Like, you know everything.
Right.
The reality is, are you in or are you out? Right? So I gotta know where the conversation's going. And if they say they're out, no problem at all. Okay? Might not be the right time for you right now in life. I completely understand it. I'm going to be doing this thing. If you ever get interested, I'll help you get involved correctly. But if you wouldn't mind, can you give me names of 3 people you think might be interested in what I have going on?
I love that.
Referrals. See, every business needs referrals. And
Totally.
before the internet, this is kind of like a lost art in sales.
It is.
Because people are just trying to market their products and their services on the internet through social media. So they're getting a wide audience of people seeing their content, right? But back in the day before the internet, how did businesses grow? They asked for referrals. So when someone tells you no, a lot of the time someone's gonna, no matter what product or service you're selling, they're gonna feel a little guilty. Like, shit, I told him no, I kind of feel bad, or I told her no, I kind of, they're gonna actually refer you people that they think do what you do. This is the greatest part. So if you're maybe in sales, they might refer you to someone in sales. Maybe we're in finance. They're going to think of people in their contacts who are in finance, right? Simple way to do this. A lot of people say, oh, well, what if they give me leads? They give me names of people and a few phone numbers. What do I do? Well, hey, your buddy Mike actually gave me your number. He said you might be interested in what I have going on. If I send you a video, would you watch it? That's it.
Sure.
If they say no, don't send the video. Great, no problem. If they say yes, that could be a customer. That's simple.
Love it.
So these are like basic fundamentals that I would teach sales reps.
No matter if I'm talking to a business owner,
Doesn't matter.
Controlling
I
10
can,
million, 1 million, or...
I can teach sales tactics that will work for any product, any service.
Yeah.
It's about controlling conversations
But
and know how to lead the conversations.
And I think one of the things also, knowing the kind of stage where you are. So for example, on social media, I don't hear you like, oh, hey, come sign up for my...
I don't sell on social media. I just promote, what I do.
What's the difference between selling and promoting here?
So I'm not going on my story or making content on a daily, but every once in a while, maybe like once or twice a year, I'll highlight something, right, that we're doing. But I'm not getting on there and saying like, you need to buy my product, or we have the greatest thing in the world since sliced bread. Go. No, I'm not like doing that. I'm more so showing them what we do, showing meetings, showing success stories, showing and highlighting all the things I have going on in my life.
And showing a lot of knowledge as well, because I came for I like
a lot of value.
The knowledge, the fundamental analysis on some of the businesses.
I would say a lot of people go wrong on social media when it comes to marketing by trying to tell the whole story. Okay?
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so you want to be the preview, not the movie. So what does that mean? You want to pique someone's interest to have them reach out to you to learn more. If you're telling them the whole story, they could go look it up on the internet and try to figure out what you do before even having a conversation. Your goal is to have contacts and conversations because that will lead to sales. If someone can go research everything that you're doing right now without talking to you, that eliminates the whole process.
Totally.
So you want to have the contact, so then you could talk to the contact, really paint the picture of what you have going on, which could eventually lead to a sale. But if they don't have a point of contact and they don't talk to you and you just, this is what we do, everything's right here, well then why the heck will I ever message you? So that's the concept. So peak interest, have people wanting to ask more questions. That is your goal. Give them a little, give them a little taste, right? But don't give them the full show.
Absolutely. How do you organize all those, once you have all those contacts, how do you organize them?
Yeah.
What's your framework?
I onboard a lot of contacts. So my contacts lists are crazy. I actually had to get one of my phones, I had to completely wipe it and put the contacts on a separate drive because I had so many contacts.
Wow.
Which is crazy. But I stay very organized. I'm blessed to have a really good brain when it comes to short-term memory. Long-term memory, I don't think I'm that good. But short-term, if you told me, hey, we have a call Saturday at 2:00, I'll remember. I don't even have to write it down. My brain is just locked in, right? But I would say with contacts, I understand the process of following up with people and also making people feel more comfortable with what we have going on. I think too many people are pushing the product or the service that they're selling more so than really creating a relationship. I'm really good at I get your contact and we could talk about other things, about, traveling, this, that, sports, whatever. I'm going to create a friendship because I realize the person with the most friends will always make the most money. And I want to have a network that is just massive. And of course, it might not be me selling that person a product today. It might not be the right time for them, might not be the right time for that conversation, whatever. But that person, when they think about maybe what I do or my niche, when it comes to that day, who are they going to call? They're going to call me. So I think it's all about generating leads, right? Creating relationships with those leads. And those leads that eventually become friends will lead to business partners and customers, let's just say. And it could be any industry, right? It could be the simplest business in the world. Most businesses that have great customer bases have people who are very good at connecting with their customers and building relationships and being a good person. And by doing that, you'll get referrals, a lot of other things.
Gotcha.
Yep.
What's your day look like in general?
Yeah, so when I'm on the road, I'm very much
because you travel a lot. I'm how do you?
Yeah, so on the road, I don't really have a set schedule. I am at the mercy of my sales guys. When I say guys, it can be guys, girls, whatever the case may be. But meaning if I show up in your country, and let's say we're going to Poland tomorrow, or we're going to Germany, or we're going to, somewhere in Latin America, we're going to South America, let's go to Brazil, right? Whatever the case may be, whatever you want to do that day, I'm going to do. See, if you understand, you're only going to see that person maybe a couple times a year, give them your undivided attention. Get off your cell phone. Okay, build that relationship because that relationship with your salesperson is super important for the longevity of what you're doing. So I think get off your phone, be at their beck and call, and fit in. Bro, when I go somewhere, whatever they eat for dinner, I eat for dinner. Whatever they drink, I drink. Whatever they do, I do.
Well, you don't do drugs.
Yeah, I don't do drugs. Besides that, that was pretty hardcore right there. No. But at the end of the day, I'm just another guy. Or you're just another girl. I think too many people...
You're a team player too.
Team player, for sure. You have to be a team player to build something very special. No one's above the team. Realize that. I don't care how successful you are, you're not above the team if you're going to build something. If you want to be a one-man army, go play golf, go play tennis. To build a massive sales organization, you can't be a one-man show. You have to have a lot of people playing a role for that to be massively successful. So I fit in, I give them my time. When I'm at home, pretty simple routine. First thing I do, I'm up 5 a.m., go to the gym, boom, first thing I do. I'm at the gym with the people that work jobs, but that's just what I do. That's how I am, right? I come home, self-develop, get ready for the market open around 9:30. So
you look at the market every day?
Yeah, in the morning.
Much.
Yeah, just see what's going on, go through all the headlines of all the companies that I own, just seeing what's going on every single day. From there, I like to do a lot of self-development between 10 to noon, What do I mean by self-development? Books, audios. I like to learn. Okay, I like to learn. And sometimes it's like an industry or a niche that you're like, why is he watching that? Like, it has nothing to do with what he does. Because I also think as a salesperson, you need to be multidimensional when it comes to the world. Because you're going to meet different types of people. So if you're just very
That's a great point.
niche oriented, what happens when you talk to someone that has no clue about that, but they're in this aspect of life? I want to be well diverse in my knowledge. So I like to educate myself on many different things. I think that's also made me a very good investor because I understand a lot of stuff, right? So that's important. From there, between like 12 and 4, I like to do calls. If it's trainings, if it's onboarding new customers, whatever the case may be. And then at nights, I like to do presentations. Nights are where you get people in front of information. So people are typically working during the day, so they're not going to be on the phone during the day. Between 7 to, let's say, 10 o'clock, I like to show the plan. I like to show people what I do, with the services or the products that I sell, if that makes sense.
Awesome. You're 30 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 32,
Yeah.
older than you, but I really admire your work ethic, discipline, and that it's such, you're an example to older business guys. Like they can learn a lot, especially like, for example, we were talking about lead generation, investing, training your salespeople.
Yeah.
Those are skills that are extremely important.
Yeah.
So how do you see your future? Like are you thinking about it, or you're just so into experience?
So I don't look at the past yet because I'm just so much in the moment, right? So I'm not looking about what I've accomplished or that.
Sure.
For me, I don't feel like I've accomplished a lot. Most people would say you've accomplished more things than people do in an entire lifetime already, right?
So who is your example? Like, who are you looking up to?
I don't think there's a specific person. I think there's a lot of people I learn from every single day. I don't have like one person I'm like, oh, this is my mentor. Like,
sure.
I don't have that person. But a lot of people have played roles through the years, right? For me, I want to impact more people's lives. I started with the business that I'm involved in, like this whole concept, with literally a couple $100, okay, at 18 years old, which basically that got me in the niche. And then basically the company that we have today since I was 19 years old. I had a couple $100 to my name, okay? Had no debt, no loans from like literally just a couple $100 built everything I built today.
Wow.
Couple $100 and wanting to learn and develop skills. And of course, you got to work your ass off. But I started a couple $100. Like, how many industries can you do that? If we're going to go start a restaurant tonight, how much money are we going to need to start the restaurant? How much money are we going to need to go buy a hotel? Like I literally started with a couple $100 in a dream and just worked. Yes, I failed more than most people, right? But I understood.
What were some of the biggest failures?
I don't know if there's specific ones. I think one of the things when it came to building sales teams, okay, this is a common one for me. I wanted it for my sales guys more than they wanted it for themselves in the early days, right? So year 1, year 2, I'm trying to help them, make money because I'm thinking they want to have nice lives. They want to be able to provide for their families. Like, I'm thinking how I think, right? But not everyone thinks like you. And you're going to realize that. And so, like I said, with salespeople today, I understand who they are. Some of my sales guys want to make a few thousand a month. Some of them want to make hundreds of thousands a month or millions of dollars a month. That's their mindset.
Do you ask them or do you observe them?
I observe them and I ask them because I have a buddy of mine, right? And some people are like, I want to be the top sales guy in the whole company. And some people are like, hey, I just want to make a part-time income. Whatever it is, I'm going to help them accomplish their goal. I have a buddy of mine who's probably like top 5 ever I've met in sales. Top 5 ever. Yeah. Super talented. If you see his marketing content.
He works with you or?
Works with me, does also some other stuff. But he's one of the most talented people you've ever met. If you saw his content he could put on social media, if he wants to, okay? How he could talk about a product or service, extremely talented. But he had a goal. His goal compared to my goal is very, very small. But he likes his time. He likes spending time with his family. And his goal is to do that and do nothing more. He doesn't want to be the number one guy. He doesn't want to make millions and millions of dollars a year doing that. He is very content paying his bills, having some extra cash, and spending the time with his family and not allocate as much energy. But that was his goal. His goal is spend time with my family, enjoy my life, have freedom. That's it. Where he has the ability, if he wants to go accomplish anything he wants. He could be as big as you've ever seen anyone, right? Everyone wants something different. And when you realize that with your salespeople, that's very important because I had to learn that. First couple of years, I thought you thought like me. Not many people think like Anthony, okay? And the reality is knowing who that person is and helping them accomplish what they want to accomplish.
Awesome. So one last question. I'm kind of afraid of the family, because we as entrepreneurs, you're very still very young, ambitious. Yeah, you just had your first kid, so you said like don't tell them, show them by the example. So like you're showing me, like Martin, let's go.
For sure.
But how do you, with traveling now, you're going to Tampa. How do you reconcile this with your family?
In the sense of which way?
Time is one thing, attention, but obviously financially I don't think there's any problem.
Yeah. How do you balance the time and the business and all this stuff?
Yeah, I don't know if balance is the right word.
No,
but whatever, however you do it. I would like to see you're doing that.
You're asking one of the best questions you could ever ask. There is no such thing as balance when you're building something great. Okay, listen closely, everyone. Balance does not exist.
But you still have a family.
Okay, but you still have a family, right? At the end of the day, the wealthier you become and you get to a different place in life, okay, you have to build something before you have balance. See, a lot of people start out today with nothing and they're like, yeah, I should have balance. Buddy, you have nothing. You need to go work your ass off so you have something, so eventually you will create balance. But I'm telling you, any great entrepreneur that's building something at one point or another in their life, they have no balance. They are locked in, they're creating. When you have stuff, go have some balance. It's fine, you could do that. I'm still not really in the balance stage, to be transparent. I'm still young, still have a lot of goals, still super hungry. Yes, I've done a lot, but I have a bigger goal and a bigger mindset for
How do you communicate with your wife?
She understands. She understood who she married.
Was it okay?
Yeah. She understood. She knows what drives me. She gets it, right?
Is she very supportive? Because you don't talk about her that much.
Extremely. Yeah, social media I don't really
I know.
More so my
that's
social
why
media. Social media is more for
because to be honest, for me as a client, someone that's watching you, I know that you're in your 30s, but you already have that. And and again, I don't know what's your situation at home.
Yeah.
But I assume that from what I've seen, like the way I think you think, I would think that it's good.
Yeah. No, we understand each other. That's why it works. We understand what drives each other. We understand what I'm good at, what she's good at. Like,
is there a lot of friction, or is there like?
No, not at all. No real friction ever. We understand each other very well. We both are very independent people. She's very independent with her career too. So it's like we're both good at what we do, right? And that's kind of it. And I leave, my stuff to my stuff. On social media, I don't put too much family stuff. Every once in a while you get like a little story or something, but my page is for business.
That's
People
right.
come to my page, they know.
You don't show your dogs and
No. They're here to do business.
But you still show some, like you're a human being,
Every
like
once
you
in
have
a
a
while,
family.
I show the story, show a picture here and there, right? But the reality is like there's a goal with what I'm doing. I wouldn't have social media if it wasn't for business. Literally, like I didn't even have.
That's awesome.
I didn't have social media until I joined the business at 18. All I had was an Instagram in high school. I had no other Facebook, anything else. I created all these accounts, YouTube, all this, after I got into business. I wouldn't have any of it. I don't care to be on social media if it wasn't for the value it could provide to a business. So a lot of people are on social media for entertainment purposes, and that will keep you broke. You have to go on social media with a purpose, and that will make you wealthy. So I'm not there to be a consumer of content. I'm there for people to consume my content and buy my product and my service. There's a lot of people who sit, their phone says they're on TikTok 3 hours a day, and they're just watching other people's bullshit, hitting the shop button. That's great. I'm the guy that you're shopping from. I'm the guy you're buying from. I'm the guy who's making money from the thing while you're literally wasting your time, your energy, and your money on the thing, if that makes sense.
Which can be very, very addictive. But
Yes.
I'm enjoying this conversation. So do you have a moment for one more question?
Yeah, let's go one more.
So one of the things that I'm making notes here. On the one hand, you have a lot of salespeople.
Yeah.
Those are the sales guys that you work with, and then you said a business is built by a few very, very kind of high quality
people that have a vision for something. Correct.
Let's talk about your business partners and what are you learning from them, and like for anybody that has business partners, or like what's been the takeaway for you so far?
I learn from everyone. You're never too good to learn, and if you think you're too good to learn, you're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble. Okay, you got to always be a student, right? Always be a student. Always be learning. There's always someone better than you, right? If you think you're the toughest guy, trust me, there's someone who can knock you out. Okay, that's the reality of how life works. So you always got to be a student, always willing to learn. I think, some people are better at different things, right? We're not all great at everything. For people that think, oh, I'm great at everything, probably not. You're great at a few things, and really focus on those few things and allocate the time and resources that you're not good at to other people. I think that's a big deal. That's why a lot of companies, if you see great companies, right? They have an idea, and those founders initially can get the company to a certain point. And then a new CEO has to come in to take the company to that next level. So there are people who can come up with things with great ideas, but there's also people who can deliver those ideas. And, sometimes in business it's great if a company outgrows you, especially if you have equity in the company long term, right? That's not the worst thing to happen. But the reality is you have to understand your strengths and weaknesses, and you always have to be a student willing to learn.
Awesome. Anthony, obviously people can put your Anthony and Napolitano on social media.
Yeah,
they'll find you.
Yes.
Any other way that they can engage,
Anthony
connect
Napolitano, YouTube Anthony Napolitano, social media like Instagram, X, these different things. It's Anthony Nap, ITZANTHONYNAP. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You'll see me everywhere doing a lot of things all the time.
Awesome. He's a superstar, and probably a bigger superstar that you guys are gonna see and hear about more and more and more. Anthony, appreciate your time. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.